It was around 9 p.m. in South London on the 3rd of March 2021, and 33-year-old Sarah Everard had just spent the evening with her friend at her home in Laithwaite Road. That night, Sarah left for a back gate and walked across Clapham Common, the walk home which she had made on numerous times before. This walk should have taken around 50 minutes. On this night, Sarah never made it home. Sarah was born in Surrey on the 14th of June 1987 to Jeremy and Sue Everard. She was the youngest of 3 children and graduated from Fulford School in York and then from Durham University, where she had studied human geography. As a young adult, Sarah embarked on a successful career as a marketing executive in London. The role was perfect for Sarah, who was known for her vibrant and sociable personality. Shortly before she vanished, she had been excited about starting her new role as a senior marketing account manager. Sarah was described by her loved ones as beautiful, thoughtful, and incredibly kind. Rose Wallard, a close friend, said she had always been an exceptional friend, dropping everything to be there to support her friends whenever they needed her. She had been in a long-term relationship with boyfriend Josh Louth, who described her as intelligent, savvy, and streetwise. The following morning, Sarah was reported missing by a concerned family who couldn't get in contact with her. She hadn't shown up for a date with her boyfriend, she wasn't at home, and her phone went straight to voicemail. This was completely out of character for Sarah, to just vanish without informing anybody of her whereabouts. A search party was immediately assembled and the investigation into her disappearance got underway. Missing person posters described Sarah as standing as 5 feet 4 inches tall with a slim build and blonde hair. When she left her friend's home that night, she was wearing a green coat, navy trousers, a beanie hat and trainers. The first point of action for the police was to retrace Sarah's movements to try and determine where exactly she had vanished from. They were able to establish that while walking, Sarah had placed a phone call to her boyfriend at around 9:30 p.m. They made plans to meet the following day around the same time. CCTV captured Sarah walking alone along the A205 Poinders Road. Police appealed to the public for information, asking that if anybody had seen or heard anything suspicious in the area that night, to immediately get in contact. They also urged people who lived in the surrounding areas to check any surveillance footage. Within days, the search for Sarah was intensified by Scotland Yard. Dozens of police officers from the Met Specialist Crime Command were called in to assist the investigation. They were scouring through hours of CCTV footage from the route that Sarah would have taken to walk home. They were also conducting door-to-door inquiries as well as physically searching for anything that it could indicate where Sarah had gone. Police called in assistance from a marine policing unit who scanned ponds in Clapham Common. In a statement, Sarah's devastated family said, "With every day that goes by, we are getting more worried about Sarah. She is always in regular contact with us, with her friends, and it's totally out of character for her to disappear like this. We long to see her and want nothing more than for her to be found safe and well. We are so grateful to the police and all our friends for all they are doing. We are desperate for news, and if anybody knows anything about what has happened to her, we would urge you to please come forward and speak to the police." On the 3rd day of the search, police released CCTV footage that showed Sarah walking alone around half an hour after she left her friend's home. The CCTV footage had been captured by a private door camera, and this showed her walking from the junction at Cavendish Road in the direction of Tools Hill, south of Brixton. On the 9th of March, there was finally an arrest in the case. The entire world recoiled in horror when the killer was identified as 48-year-old Wayne Couzens, a Metropolitan Police officer.
We're here to talk to you about Sarah. I'm going to show you a picture. Do you know Sarah?
I don't know.
Okay. Sarah went missing. I'll show you some pictures of her on the day.
Okay.
Sarah went missing on Wednesday, and her parents obviously and her family really worried about that now. The inquiry that's been conducted so far has led us to come and speak to you about it and to see what you know about Sarah, okay? So, would you like to, do you know where Sarah is?
No.
Right, okay. Do you know anything about what happened to her?
I know that she went missing up in London somewhere, about a week ago or so, just from what I got on the news.
Okay. Have you ever personally met her?
No, not personally, no.
Have you had any interactions with her at all?
No, why would I have personal interactions with her?
Well, it's very difficult because I can't go into a lot of the evidence because obviously that's not part of what an urgent interview is, okay? This interview is just about trying to find her. Because
Sure.
she's been missing for a while now.
I'm sat in handcuffs and you're asking me what I know her, so you must have something to say that I know her.
Well, as I said, you've been arrested on suspicion of kidnap, and we believe that you've been involved in her disappearance and taking her away from her family.
Okay.
So we are trying to find her. Obviously, everybody is very worried about her. She's got, parents. She's got she's got siblings. She's got a boyfriend. There's a lot of people that care about her.
Sure.
You've seen her on the news. The number of people that are reaching out about her.
Sure.
Out there looking for her every day, and she's missing. And our primary job here is to find her and to try and find her safe and well.
Okay.
Now, we believe that you know something about where she is, and that's why we're here, to look for her and to try and find her. And that's why we're talking to you now, is to try and get you to have a good think about it and tell us anything you can about whether or not you're to find her.
Okay. Well, I am in financial, and I've been lent on by, I don't know who they are. They're a group, a gang, whatever. And they told me, right, I need to go and pick up girls and give them to them. So, I said, not happening. And it then came through that they're going to harm my family, take them away, and they'll use them instead. At that point I had no option to try and find somebody. So I don't, there's a couple of names. I was told a place to take her. That's it. That is all I know. To this group of people.
Tell me about them. I need to find them. Tell me everything you know that I think that you'll help me.
There was a white Sprinter van. They was between sort of Len and Maidstone area that I dropped her off. I still don't know. I don't know. They just I just parked my car up, and then the van come up behind me, flashed me. They all jumped out, and then they took this girl. They said, you've done good, and I don't know whether my family's going to be alright still. But they threatened to take my family away from me. So at that point, I'm doing what I can to protect my family. That's it. So all I know is that it was a roundabout. We could drive there now. I could show you. But roughly, I don't know Lenham Maidstone area at all.
If we did it on Google, if we did it on Google Maps, like Google Earth, if we drove it, would you be able to do it?
I drove from Ashford to Maidstone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's a roundabout that breaks up, I guess. So this is the first big roundabout that you come to. And you would carry straight over to Maidstone, but instead I went round that roundabout and back up another road. And at that point, I was flashed and pulled over. Three guys got out, opened my door, opened that door, pushed me out against the front of the car, took the girl, drove off. That's it. They said, we'll be in touch. So I'm here. I'm off work with stress because I'm here to protect my family. I want to be here 24/7 for my family. They come from my family. I've got nothing myself. I've got no choice.
I'll go back through the route with you in a minute, alright? But how do they contact you? How did you contact them?
I tried to take over on one of their call girls and rip her off. So she's told them, and they've got me. So
How do they, no, but honest, how do they contact you? How is it they've been in contact with you to make these threats?
they just tell me, be here. So Hotel Burston down in Folkestone, got to be here. Okay, so I turned up. I've got no mobile number, and they have got my mobile number. They're obviously outside watching, following. I just, honestly...
How are they telling you to be there? How is it they're giving those directions?
Yeah, they'll come outside. So they'll be outside here.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, right, you're going to be in Folkestone at this time, or you're going to be in Ashford at this time. That's it. There's no links, no telephone numbers. I'm completely on my own, but at the same time being threatened. It had Romanian plates on the van, white, like Mercedes Sprinter type van.
Couzens had been connected to Sarah's disappearance by a car that he had hired the day before. CCTV footage had captured Couzens pulling up beside Sarah and falsely arresting her. The search for Sarah continued, and investigators were focusing on areas that Couzens was known to frequent and where he owned property or land. He owned some woodland in Dover, and police embarked on that area with the aid of a sniffer dog. That afternoon they found Sarah's body in a pond around 100 metres away. She was burned beyond recognition, and her remains had been stuffed in a large bag. Sarah was identified via dental records, and her autopsy determined she had died from compression of the neck. The investigation uncovered that Couzens had rented a hire car between 5 p.m. on the 3rd of March and 9:30 a.m. the following day. His intention was to abduct, rape and kill a lone woman. That day he had clocked off from his 12-hour shift as a police officer and climbed into his rental vehicle. He was wearing his police belt with handcuffs and a rectangular black pouch that looked similar to a pepper spray holder. He came across Sarah, who was walking home. CCTV footage captured what happened next. Couzens could be seen pulling up alongside Sarah and raising a left arm holding a warrant card. He accused Sarah of breaking the COVID-19 restrictions. Couzens had worked on COVID patrols in January of that year, so he knew the proper language. Sarah believed him. She was likely more vulnerable to this accusation of breaching the restrictions because she had been at a friend's home for dinner. Sarah was placed in handcuffs and then led to the hire car and put in the back seat. A passenger in a passing car had witnessed the entire kidnapping, but simply mistook it for an arrest by an undercover officer. She had assumed the woman being arrested must have done something wrong. Couzens then drove Sarah to a secluded area near Dover, where he pulled in, put the car in park and raped her. He then strangled her to death with his police belt. Once Sarah was deceased, Couzens burned her body in a refrigerator in the area of woodland that he owned in Hodes Wood near Ashford. He then placed her remains into a builder's bag that he had brought just days earlier and disposed of her in a nearby pond. On the 9th of July, Couzens appeared in court where he pleaded guilty to the murder of Sarah. While he had at first denied all involvement, once he was arrested and Sarah's body was found, he made a full and detailed confession to a psychiatrist. In September, Wayne Couzens was handed a whole life order at the Old Bailey for kidnap, rape and murder of Sarah Everard. In handing down the sentence, Lord Justice Fulford said that the circumstances of this case were devastating, tragic and wholly brutal. The disappearance of Sarah Everard was one of the most widely publicised missing person cases that the United Kingdom has ever seen. The actions of Wayne Couzens struck a crushing blow to the confidence that people, mainly women, have within the police. The case triggered an investigation by the Independent Office for Police Contact, the IOPC, which learnt that the Met failed to investigate 2 allegations of indecent exposure linked to Couzens in February of 2012. It was also discovered that Kent Police failed to investigate another indecent exposure incident linked to Couzens in 2015. He had been linked to at least 3 sexual offences, but never investigated. The IOPC ultimately announced that its investigation had led to 12 misconduct notices being filed against various officers, including one who had shared an inappropriate photograph regarding the case with officers before he manned the cordon at the scene in the search for Sarah. In the aftermath of the murder, there was massive debate over the safety of women within the United Kingdom, and many questions were raised regarding whether the criminal justice system did enough to protect women and punish those who harm them. Sarah's rape and murder led to a plethora of vigils and peaceful protests which took place all across the United Kingdom. There were calls for more to be done to tackle violence against women. There was a rallying cry for women to reclaim those streets and take back the night. During the vigils and peaceful protests, police were once again hit with massive criticism for the handling of the events. Many expressed anger that the Met Police were using heavy-handed tactics that included pushing women to the ground and forcibly detaining them. 4 people took legal action against the Met Police, arguing that their human rights of freedom of speech and assembly had been breached. In March 2022, the court ruled in favour, finding that the Metropolitan Police had breached their rights. The ruling was hailed as a victory for women. Thank you for watching. I'm going to be continuing a UK true crime series, so if you are interested in seeing more videos, please do like and subscribe.